not wearing a white shirt because this video deals with ketchup. But I can assure you that it's not ketchup as in everyone's favorite food condiment. Instead, we're talking about ketchup as in a process by which regions with lower levels of economic development are able to catch up to other places. The catch-up effect is based on the idea in economics that the amount of capital available per worker affects productivity, and then productivity affects wages and economic development. If a person gets more and better equipment and machinery, this is what I mean by capital per worker, then their productivity goes up. And here we're measuring productivity as the amount of output per worker. And with higher productivity and output per worker, people earn higher wages. So it seems like a key to economic development is the amount of capital per worker. This model of circles and arrows can be described as follows. First, places with low amounts of capital per worker, in other words, places with low amounts of equipment, machinery, and less low wages, are attractive to businesses looking for a place to invest new capital. This is consistent with the idea that firms will locate new facilities in low-wage areas. Second, places with high amounts of capital per worker, and these are high-wage regions, are attractive to workers. In other words, we assume that people will move to regions in search of higher wages. And finally, low-wage regions will experience faster growth than regions that start out with more capital per worker. This is what we mean by a catch-up effect. Let's look at a two-region model where ducks are employed to manufacture photocopies. In the left side panel, Region A has one duck with 4 copiers. That's a lot of equipment, and thus that one duck, and it's a very lucky ducky, has high productivity and wages. In the right side panel, you have 4 ducks sharing one copier in Region B. So the amount of capital per worker is low. That makes productivity and wages lower in Region B. With these differences in productivity and wages across regions, we would expect 2 things to happen. First, you might expect some of the ducks in Region B to move to Region A in search of higher wages. This means that Region A attracts workers and experiences growth. Second, you might expect Region B to attract new investments in machinery. That is, if you're looking for a place to locate a new copier, the marginal return to that new copier would be higher in Region B. So productivity and wages increase in Region B as new investments occur. After some of the ducks moved from Region B to Region A, and the investments in copiers happen in Region B, you would have a situation where the amount of copiers per duck is the same in both regions. In other words, Region B caught up to Region A in terms of productivity and wages. This is what we mean by a catch-up effect. Our model of ducks and photocopiers has 3 main implications about the growth and development of regions. First, places with low wages, this was our Region B, has faster wage growth. This is a catch-up effect, or more formally referred to as convergence. Second, places with high wages have faster population growth. This was our Region A. And finally, some places have an increase in development. This is our Region B with wage growth, while other regions grow. This is our Region A with population growth, or just growth in the number of ducks. Here's a scatter plot and trend line that provide empirical evidence related to the prediction that places with low wages have faster wage growth. On the y-axis, which is up and down, we measure the annual growth rate of per capita income from 1900 to 1990, and on the x-axis, or side to side, we measure real per capita income as of 1900 using a base period of the early 1980s. And this figure uses data from an economic growth book written by Barrow and Sally Martin. The left-hand side of the figure shows states like North Carolina and Florida that had high growth rates of income, but started with very low incomes back in 1900. And then you have places such as Montana and California that had high incomes in 1900 and lower growth rates between 1900 and 1990. Overall, the scatter plot and trend line shows strong evidence of a negative relationship between income growth from 1900 to 1990 and income levels way back in 1900. And this is consistent with a catch-up effect where places with low wages have faster wage growth. A second prediction of the catch-up effect is that places with higher incomes experience higher levels of population growth. This was our region A in our model of ducks and copiers. This figure, which is also from the Economic Growth book by Barrow and Sally Martin, shows the annual growth rate of population on the y-axis, which goes up and down, and real per capita income on the x-axis. Overall, this scatter plot and trend line show that people were, in fact, attracted to states with higher incomes. If you combine the findings from the last two scatter plots, you can look at the relationship between the population growth rates of regions, shown on the y-axis, and the growth rate of per capita income, shown on the x-axis. And with this new scatter plot, we can see that some places grew, states like Arizona and California attracted a lot of people, while other regions developed, that is, states such as North Carolina and even Texas saw higher growth rates of per capita income. The only big exception to this trend is Florida, which was a leader for both population and income growth. Other than the Sunshine State, most regions were one or the other. That is, they grew in terms of population or developed in terms of per capita income. A major theme of regional economic development up until the mid to late 20th century was the importance of convergence, or what we called the catch-up effect. Near the end of the 20th century, however, the process of catch-up and convergence turned to divergence. In a book titled The New Geography of Jobs, Enrico Moretti notes that U.S. regions are diverging, and the strongest economies, what Moretti refers to as innovation hubs, are experiencing more development. Likewise, Richard Florida's book about the rise of the creative class documents a sorting of people and economic activity, where some regions emerge as centers of creativity and idea generation, while others fall behind. This also suggests that lagging regions are not able to catch up. So what happened around the end of the 20th century that changed things from a process of catch-up to divergence? Well, the simple answer is that the U.S. economy changed from an emphasis on manufacturing goods, this is what we had in our model of ducks making photocopies, to a greater reliance on ideas and knowledge. To see what I mean about an ideas-based economy leading to divergence, let's look at a new two-region model where you have ducks in a conference room sharing ideas. In the left side panel, you have a lot of ducks sitting around a conference table. With all these ideas, Region A is very productive and it pays high wages. In the right-hand panel, you have Region B with fewer ducks and fewer ideas, and therefore lower productivity and wages. Since there's a benefit from being around others in an idea-based economy, Region A's high productivity attracts workers from Region B. But unlike what happened in a manufacturing-based economy, you don't have idea-based businesses looking to locate and invest in Region B. That's because companies want to locate near idea-based workers, so you would actually have new investments happening in Region A. So in an idea-based economy, Region B falls behind other regions. By contrast, in the manufacturing-based economy of ducks making photocopies, Region B caught up. To sum up our model of ducks sharing ideas in an idea-based economy, you have a process of divergence where the regions that started ahead, in this case it was Region A with more ducks sitting around the table, became even more productive as they attracted new idea-based workers. In other words, places with high productivity have faster wage growth and the rich get richer. Also, you don't have a catch-up effect, and instead less productive places fall behind. A final implication of a model of divergence is that your most productive places experience higher rates of development, that is, more robust increases in wages, and growth, that is, faster population growth. This is what happened in Region A in our example. To provide some empirical evidence along the lines that a process of divergence means that some regions experience higher levels of growth and development, let's look at the employment and income indices that use data from 1990 to the mid-2010s. Recall that the employment index is based on employment growth rates and differences in the unemployment rate across regions. So it's a good indicator of the growth of regions. The income index, on the other hand, is based on the growth rate of per capita income and differences in income levels across places. So it's a good indicator of the presence of good jobs and overall economic development. In the scatter plot, which has the income index on the y-axis and the employment index on the x-axis, we see that there's an upward sloping trend line, and the fact that it's a bold and solid line means that the positive relationship between growth and development is statistically significant. In other words, the figure shows that some regions both grew and developed faster than others between 1990 and the mid-2000 teens. This is consistent with a pattern of divergence. I hope this video about the ketchup effect didn't give you too much of a craving for French fries. But if it did, we're about done, so you can drop by your favorite place for fries. But before you hop in your car, please remember the key takeaways from this video. First, back when the US had a greater emphasis on manufactured goods, basic market forces of convergence helped low-wage regions catch up to other places. In today's economy, with a higher reliance on idea and knowledge-based products and services, the process of convergence changed to divergence, and the places with higher productivity and wages are moving even farther ahead.